We want to avoid fights and violent encounters at all cost, but what about when we're forced to fight? In this video, I want to talk about 3 things we must do when that happens. Stick around. There's all kinds of ways to avoid being in a fight or a violent encounter. There's common sense, situational awareness. There's using your feet and removing yourself from the premises, as well as other verbal forms of de-escalation. Unfortunately, there may be times where we're put in a situation where we have no other choice but to fight back. Many people have been put in those situations. From the start, I want to tell you that this video is not about technique. I've got plenty of videos on technique and fighting styles. This video is about our mentality, because more often than not, the fight is lost here first. I also want to establish that this is going to apply to any kind of fight that you're in. There's many different scenarios where you may have to fight back. And I'm going to assume as well that you have done some physical training. Maybe you haven't. Well, that's for another video. This video is all about our mentality. Also remember that these things are happening simultaneously. It's not step 1, step 2, step 3. These are 3 things that have to happen simultaneously. You have to be prepared. This stuff may seem simple to some people, but I believe it's the stuff that people struggle with the most. Being combative and being violent is natural for some people, but it's not natural for a lot of people. It takes a while to get there. Number 1, you've got to breathe. Living is breathing anyway, but if you'll notice, when you find yourself getting into a fearful situation, your breathing begins to change, and a lot of people start holding their breath, and that's why they can't even communicate verbally. Keep the airflow going, especially at the first sign of trouble. I use this example a lot. Next time you feel afraid, pay attention to how you feel in that moment, and then discover the importance of breathing in. You will see how much of a difference it makes on how you feel going forward. It takes proper breathing to think straight, to operate, and to even speak properly. Have you ever heard people's voice begin to crack when they get nervous? Has that ever happened to you? You've got to make sure you're taking in that air. The second thing we have to do in those situations is accept it. Because deep down inside, the response that a lot of people are having is, no, I know this is not happening to me, or why is this happening to me? You have to accept that it is. If you don't accept it, it's going to affect your response. A lot of people get so afraid in these moments that they have a difficult time accepting that this is really happening and I have to deal with it. Acceptance is the only way that you can tackle the third thing we must do, and that is commit. Commit to what? Well, whatever act is necessary to survive. Violence doesn't come as easy to some as it does to others. And I'm referring to doing whatever is necessary to either get away or completely stop the threat. Commitment means commitment to whatever force is necessary to survive. We can't play around with these individuals any longer. We've got to act. We've got to act with killer instinct. We've got to act with savagery, and we've got to act with everything that we have. And you have to envision these things in your training, and you have to envision these things when you think about the reality that they can happen. Clint Eastwood sums all of this up perfectly, actually, in a movie, Outlaw Josie Wells. Listen to this quote. Now remember, when things look bad and it looks like you're not going to make it, then you got to get mean. I mean, plumb mad dog mean. Because if you lose your head and you give up, then you neither live nor win. That's just the way it is. This video is not about seeing red. It's about mental preparation. It's about remembering to breathe properly so that you can function even in the midst of fear. It's about accepting that this battle has come to your life and not running from it on the inside and tucking your head in the sand. You have to accept it. And it's about being committed to whatever act of violence is necessary for your survival. You can't just lay down. You have to get in the battle and be fully committed. I believe these are the 3 things we must do before we can even fight effectively. No, I didn't talk about fight techniques in this video. No, I didn't talk about everyday carry tools for self-defense in this video. I talked about the weapon of the mind, and what we have to do mentally in order to prepare to act physically. I always like to open up the comment section for anything you would like to add, anything that you believe we must do if forced to fight. Take care.